Cam, Manchester United won. Feels crazy saying it, really. I feel quite bad for Wolves. Wolves 0. 3 points, first game of the season. But oh my God, what an awful performance.
Terrible. At least we got the 3 points.
Yes.
The only good thing they did well today, emergency defending, because otherwise we would have conceded 5 or 6.
Yeah, like the blocks and like last ditch tackles and yeah.
And to be fair, if there's any players in the world you want in that situation, it's Varane and Casemiro. They are brilliant at it. That's what they did well. But I've got to say, I know at half-time a lot of people were really annoyed. I could see what was going on first half.
What was going on?
Well, for me, first half, in terms of what Ten Hag's trying to do with his vision, I don't think we're a million miles away in terms of the structure. I think what was a million miles away was the execution. So what you saw quite often was Mason Mount and Bruno getting really high in the half spaces. You've got the wingers stretching the pitch either side. And it seemed to be more of a 2 building at the back with the centre-backs either side. And you sort of had Casemiro just a little bit in front. The bit that was letting us down time and time again was Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes. When they're receiving the ball in the pockets, every single time they're back to goal. All you've got to do, and it's harder, it's easy, a lot easier said than done, but get on the half turn. If the goal's back there, they're receiving the ball like this, get on the half turn, receive it, and that's the difference between them receiving the ball, playing forward, us getting a chance, or losing the ball straight away and the opposition get a chance. And that's even worse because they're so high. There's no midfield, the opposition straight through. So it's that small margin there of them not being on the half turn. But what you've got to say there, in all fairness to those guys, because of what was going on behind them, because of the fact that they keep having to sprint back in transition, if you've had to run back 5 times because the pass hasn't been great or you've not kept the ball, it's very difficult to keep going, right, next time I'm going to get on the half turn, because if you're on the half turn, it's harder to sprint back. So I can see why, but it's that little bit of confidence there to get on the half turn, be ready, trust everything happening the right way, and then play forward.
I'm going to be. I saw almost everything that we were trying to do be wrong. If I'm honest, I didn't see. I get what you're saying about we got an idea of what we want to do because we know it's been a year on a Ten Hag. But in terms of today, individual battles, duels. You know how many times did Cunha drop off the front, get on the half turn, carrying the ball progressively through midfield, just going past people like they weren't there. How many times does Lamina muscle people off the ball, get a turn? You know, they just had a little bit of muscle, and to me, it just looked like the balance and the physicality was completely missing out of that midfield today. And I'm not saying bring back Fred from Fenerbahce or, you know, it should have been Fred and McTominay. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying evidently today, Bruno was getting done in all of his duels, didn't hardly win the ball back. Mason Mount, same thing. Casemiro can only do so much. You know, he's good at sensing danger, like to get over there and nick it, but when it's like a 1v1, you know, in a big space, he's done. He's done. That's not his game.
I mean, in fairness to him, second half, he was covering massive spaces, but the only reason he was struggling more second half was because he did so many sprints first half, so many slide tackles, so many blocks. It's the frustrating thing with Casemiro is it's almost in a way a little bit like the De Gea situation where he's not the best in possession, but he is 100% making up for out of possession. If it wasn't that first half, we can see 3, 4, 5.
Absolutely, but what about individuals? So you know, Garnacho was having an awful time, Bruno was having an awful time, Rashford was having an awful time. In terms of the individuals who were, you know, play was breaking up the decision making offensively as well, because you spoke about it off the ball and how they could have gone a half turn, but those players.
Flex. Marcus Rashford was terrible. Look, if I was a Premier League centre-back, and obviously I'm about 4'2" and a bit fat, I'm not a Premier League centre-back, but I would have loved playing against Marcus Rashford today. He didn't want to run, and I think you can give him the tiniest bit of a saving grace in that when your manager's got a plan, you're doing something new, you want to do what he said. So I think they were trying constantly to play through and draw Wolves onto us. But first half, especially from goal kicks, the Wolves defenders are on the halfway line. If they're on the halfway line, the whole idea of this transitional football is create space to play into. If they're already on the halfway line, play the ball short, fine, draw the first line of the press, then just smack it over the top.
That's Casemiro special, that.
Casemiro, that's what Casemiro does when he's under pressure, because he can't really do much else. But yeah, still, just play the ball short, then nick it in behind, straight away. Rashford running behind, but every time he was coming towards the ball. Now, I think this is where you want tactically intelligent players that adapt quickly. That's why Ten Hag's got Anthony, and that's why he plays him every time he's fit, because he knows exactly what's needed, and it helps the players around him to have confidence that they're going to do the right thing. Same with Mason Mount, tactically intelligent, adapts quickly. He wants players like that, whereas Marcus Rashford, for all he's good at, and he's good at a lot of things, he's not the smartest player tactically. He takes a while to get the idea of things. He's still not got a clue when he's pressing. No idea. So individuals-wise, there's a lot of them that don't quite know what they're trying to do yet, and I think with a lot of the others, it's just not having the confidence in the rest of the team, not having 100% the confidence in the execution. Because at times in the first half, Wolves are really compact, and if any little thing goes wrong, you're running back towards your own goal. And the way Ten Hag plays, there is no midfield.
And there was so many turnovers. Could Eric Ten Hag have changed that midfield and changed it earlier?
He could have changed the midfield, but if you put yourself in the eyes of a manager, if you go out and you tell them you want to play a certain way in pre-season, you keep trying to get the principles in place, get the structure in place, get the players playing those positions and roles. You then come to the first game of the season, things begin to go a bit pear-shaped, and you change it straight away. What message does that then send to the players?
Not straight away. I'm talking like 65th minute.
You're still in the first game of a process that you want to build in a certain way. What message does that send to the players? It sends to the players, especially if you then go on and win the game. It's a double-edged sword, because yes, you get the 3 points that way, but it sends a message to the players, hang on, we can't be doing this, because do we want to buy into this? Because, hang on, a different ways.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying that last year, when we realised we couldn't play out from the back yet, we had to change it. I'm not going to overreact, but to me personally, I'm saying the midfield, for all the technicality, for all the things we want to do right now in this moment, we're getting outworked. So I'm saying, I don't care if Scott McTominay's going to leave or whatever, but I'm looking at like, how did he not enter the field?
There's another point in getting on the outwork stuff as well.
Yeah.
In certain situations, they are weak in the duels. But you've got to remember, physically, it's tough. I'll give you an example of Brighton. So, obviously a very different team. But do you know the way, when they're playing, when they're training, and it goes right through the club from the youth teams all the way up to the senior team, when they get a breaking play or they win the ball back in transition, as much as possible, they'll pass it straight back to the goalkeeper. That's not to help them score, because at that phase of play they won't. Yeah. What that does is physically it gives them a chance to reset, because their way of playing is very similar to ours in the sense of transitions. It's transition based. They try and bait the press, then they quickly get the whole team sprinting up the pitch. That is an intense physical effort to get the whole team up the pitch. So to prepare for that...
What are you saying? We were tired after pre-season, we were tired today.
Yeah, look...
What are you saying?
It's different, isn't it? Sprinting is different to jogging around.
Yeah.
If you're going to be prepared for those peak physicality actions, you need to have that time to rest and recover.
Did you see Rusty? Did you see like we wasn't ready for the season? You've seen pre-season, you know, we've all looked a bit, oh, hang on a minute. But look, we have won the game. But we have to look at how poorly we played and look at why it happened.
I'm not saying we deserve to win at all. We did.
Yeah, no, we didn't. But if you look do you think that they looked tired? Do you think...
I think they looked tired, but I think everything comes on top of each other. If in that first half, Mason Mount and Bruno get on the half turn, they play the balls in behind, we probably score or at least have a couple of very, very good chances. If we do that, it's a different game.
Yeah.
And if it's the difference between them getting on the half turn playing forward versus them not being on the half turn back to goal, losing the ball, everybody sprints back. That's a sprint for everybody. You're then knackered for the next couple of minutes. It takes time to recover, and it's a small margin between getting that right and us dominating and us not and having a problem.
Andre Onana, first Premier League game, kept a clean sheet. A lot of people are going to talk about that penalty incident. I know you haven't quite seen it back yet. I have. I think it's a Stonewall penalty, I'll be honest. And I've seen it back on one replay. I probably need to look again, but my first thought was penalty. But his overall game and what he brought for us today, a lot of what I thought about you, because a lot of what we spoke about with Onana is his distribution and how high he can play. But the bravery of coming for things and being commanding, that really helped us today.
It makes a huge difference to the defence, because all of a sudden you're not worried about what's behind you. You can worry about what's that side of you and head the ball away forwards. You don't have to worry about coming back because your keeper's not coming off his line. Makes an immense difference. He was good with the ball. At times, there was one or two when he played the ball. I think there was one when he played the ball through the lines. Yeah, Garnacho didn't necessarily have his best game. Again, difference between being an impact sub and being a starter. Yeah. That was frustrating. But he played the ball through the lines to Mason Mount. Again, received it back to goal. Not quite right. But Onana was good. I haven't seen the penalty. I sit 100 metres away, so no real comment.
I think it was.
I'll go with you on that.
Yeah.
I was worried when the ref started sprinting over.
Yeah, he was to give a card, but I thought he was going to the bloody screen, and you know what happens. Who was your man of the match? Because the Ghost of Rafe the Phantom gave us 3 points.
What I do want to say, actually, on that, it got to a point where none of the midfielders or forward players were taking the ball on the half turn. Yeah. So there was a point where Casemiro did it, and the ball just ran out of play before he could cut it back. Then Lindelof's done it. Yeah. Then Varane's got himself in the box. If the attackers won't do it, I'm glad the defenders have. Varane's man of the match.
And Wan-Bissaka assist.
He was so weird, because at times when everyone else was being sloppy, he was the only one that could control the ball. Then at times he did his thing, and he.
The streets say that's what they want Dalot to do. Assists, Wan-Bissaka.
Dalot's not great in the final third. He's not.
Who you going, man of the match?
Yeah, it's Varane. Easy Varane.
Nice one.